I spent last night rearranging my bedroom, and it was the most fun I've had in a hot minute. I felt like my childhood self. Welcome back to Human. I'm your host, Jess, and I'm so happy to be here. I am very happy to be sitting here and recording. Let's start with my evening last night. It's a Saturday morning right now, and last night it was Friday. I had a really busy day at work. I have had really busy weeks, actually, just in general. I'm like, is this what adulting is now? Like, things just get crazy. So last night I was like, nobody talk to me. I need to be alone in my bedroom having my solo time. I literally got back from returning a pair of pants I bought, and I just like tackled the city at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, and it went well. It only took me an hour. I got home. I was in the bath. My boyfriend called me and I was like, I love you, but I cannot talk to you right now. You know those days when you're just like, you've been doing all the things, you've been being everything for everybody, and it's time to shut the world off and be in your lonesome, be all in your own presence. So I was like, please stop talking to me. I am going to hang up on the phone now and go do my own thing. And during my outing to return my pants, I also got an edible, which I had been kind of craving lately to take one. And I'm 23, it's of age, it's legal in Canada, in Ontario, where I live. So before you get all stressed, this is appropriate. I can talk about this. So I took an edible on my way back from my shopping experience, and I have such a fast metabolism. I am not for operating any type of moving thing when you're under any type of influence. But the hint for me, I was biking home. It was like a 5-minute bike ride, and I was on this bike and I was going like, and it was like feeling like a strange sensation, and I was like, is it hitting already? And then I was in the bath and my boyfriend was talking to me. Yes, I was on the phone in the tub, and I was like, I can't listen to you speak. Like, please shut the F up. So these were the warning signs for me that like, this edibles, it's kicking in, girl. It's coming. And you're going through an internal shift in your life when you need to rearrange your entire bedroom. And now when I was a kid, this was something I did on the regular. Like every couple months, I'm like, it's time. I need to rearrange my bedroom. It makes me feel just like a new woman. And so I just knew it was coming. Like a couple days leading up to today, I was like, my bed should be facing my view. Because right now my bed faces, if your bed's on one side of the room and I look out my windows, and I see like my beautiful city view. But then if my bed's on the other side of my wall in my bedroom, I just see pure buildings. That's kind of my layout. And I had my bed facing pure buildings because my desk faced the view. So I kind of have to pick which one gets to have the view. And so I just had this feeling of like, I'm going through all these internal changes. I'm having all these realizations. This is classic Jess, but there's big ones happening right now. And so I was like, I need to switch this bitch around. So I was feeling the edible hit, but I was like, I need to lay in my bed and stare at the view. And I've been struggling to do nothing and struggling to move my body less. Well, I'm at my desk, and so then I'm moving my brain. And then when I'm not at my desk, I'm like running errands or working out or making dinner. Jess needs to sit down. Jess needs to chill out. So I moved my bedroom in the most lazy way ever. I also have a queen bed for the first time in my life. So I'm like, I need to like get all the shit out from under my bed, and I need to move this big ass bed all alone. I'm just like, you know what? That's not happening right now. The edible's hitting, my body's getting heavy. So I just pushed my bed against the other wall with the bed frame or the headboard, that's what it is, on the complete wrong side. And I was like, it's fine. So I laid in my bed, I stared at the view. And this is why it's so good that my bed now has the beautiful view. I kind of did a lazy rearrange after I'd like laid down and had some solo time. I was like, okay, there's stuff everywhere. I need to like half clean this up at least so it looks surface clean, even if it's not like deeply organized. So I like got up, ordered myself a pizza. I never order myself food ever. It felt like such a treat. I ordered myself pizza and I was like, perfect. You have like 30 minutes. Let's clean up your room so it's like at least livable. And then we're going to eat our pizza and like watch something on Netflix. Oh, this sounds like such a good me night. And you know what? It was. It was such a good me night. I'm so happy I did it. So then what was the point? Oh, yes, having the beautiful view. It's so hard to slow down. I feel like I'm moving fast all the time. I'm always on to the next thing. There's been a lot going on work-wise and career-wise for me lately. So now that my bed is facing my city view, I feel like I can lay in my bed and I can just stare out the window. And that's not something I had before. When I would lay in my bed, I would stare at buildings and it would just not feel relaxing. And I just had this realization of like, why is my desk facing the beautiful city view when I'm not enjoying it? Like, I'll take a couple seconds and like look up and look at the view, and then I'll like get back to my computer, or I'm like in a meeting and I'm like mid thought and mid sentence, and then I like look up and look at the view, but you're not like absorbing it. You're not like relaxed in a state of calm and bliss and, ooh, I'm a city girl in my 20s. I'm fun. I'm flirty. It's just awesome. I don't have those moments when my bed faces the buildings. Also, I just want to acknowledge my privilege here. Like, this is very grateful to be living this life, truly, and it takes some hard ass work, but I have had so much support from many people in getting here. So I do want to acknowledge that. Your Friday nights do not have to look how they used to if you don't want them to. Clearly, I used to be like hitting the clubs, going to the bars, drinking my face off, hanging with my friends, and I still hang with my friends, and I still go to a bar once in a while, and maybe we should do an alcohol update soon. Subscribe if you want to hear that coming up, and let me know in the show notes. Also, on my website, humantohumanpod.com, there's a way for you to ask a question or submit a funny TMI story completely anonymously. Please do that, because Human to Human's back, bitches, okay? That's my little hint to you. Oh, I feel so good. I'm so happy to be here. I hope you're happy to be listening. So, yeah, like your Friday nights do not need to look like how society says they should, to be honest. Living in the city, I feel that more than ever too. Friday night is when I'm like so tired from my long ass week and I want to chill the F out. And because I live in the city, it is when things are bumping, booming. Now that it's not the summer though, I am noticing that Friday nights aren't as loud, because in the summer, Friday nights were crazy. Like, my roommate and I would be going to bed and we'd be hearing like, woo, from out on the streets. So I'm like, clearly, like, now that the weather's turning and people are back into routine, it's not as a thing. But this type of Friday night reminded me of being a kid. This edible also just like lasted so freaking long, but that's neither here nor there. And obviously I didn't take edibles when I was a child, but when I was a kid, I would like lose track of time, not touch technology, and just be in my room all alone, having so much fun. And I need those moments in my life to just appreciate what I have and be grateful for the moment and live in the present. It feels so good. And now that my room is rearranged, I'm like, this feels right. This feels right. And I got my pizza. I'd finished getting everything just like remotely in its place. And then I laid down and I watched the new Kristen Bell show. I thought it was a movie when I clicked on it. It is a series called Who Wants This? Who Would Want This? Nobody Wants This. That's what it's called. And I don't know if it was the cannabis in my blood, but I was dying laughing, like dying. It was so funny. I kept rewinding to watch the jokes again. And it is so insane, just like not to get a little spiritual for a second, how the universe shows up, because I've been getting so many signs, because I've been asking the universe, like, oh my God, I just don't know what the fuck is happening with my life. Like, please give me signs. And I've been getting so many different weird, cool signs. And there's this one project that I'm not going to share about yet, but I really, really want to spend more time working on it. And this show is such insane inspiration for it. It is so funny, and it is so like the comedy and the energy of something I want to create one day. And so I'm just like, fuck, bro. The universe is still just showing up and saying, these decisions you're making are the right decisions. Keep going, girl. Like, love you. You are on point with this. And let's get into it. Let's get into what's been going on. I've been MIA for 2 months and I have been reevaluating my life, my dreams. I've been trying to do everything, be everything to everyone, and it has led to multiple mental breakdowns, lots of in-person therapy sessions, and some big decisions that I haven't actually shared with many people close to me as of the time I'm recording this. It's been feeling really good to keep these decisions just to myself for a bit because they feel, other people probably wouldn't even care that much, but for me they feel dramatic and they feel like a big shift. So I moved to downtown Toronto about 6 months ago, which is crazy. Not completely on my own. I have a roommate, but financially on my own, moved out of my parents' house. This is the first time I've been fully, completely financially independent. It's so scary. And there's been a lot of emotions and a lot of decisions that have come with that. And a lot of things in the past 6 months I've done with the mindset of I need to make money to survive. And so I didn't do human to human for a bit. I stopped podcasting for the past couple months. I definitely lessened my social media presence on at Human to Human Pod, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. And I was really focusing on my full-time job, my day job. I work at Building Bridges Psychotherapy as their marketing manager, and we have a podcast called Mental Health Matchmaker. I interview each therapist at the therapy practice, which is so fun and fulfilling and also challenging in such a new way. The whole point of Mental Health Matchmaker is to make it easier to find the right therapist for you. So I interview each therapist, and so for free, you don't have to get a 15-minute consult. You don't have to pay for a session. It saves you time, money, and energy to listen to these episodes and basically figure out what therapist would feel most aligned with you and you want to work with the most if you're seeking therapy. And that mission is so close to my heart. I started Human to Human because I started therapy and wanted to share everything I was learning. So I'm so passionate about what I'm doing in my typical kind of 9 to 5, even though it's very much not a normal person 9 to 5. So I've been doing so much work there and we're hiring more therapists and I help with the onboarding stuff. So things have been busy. And then on top of that, I started doing UGC content creation. If you don't know what UGC is, it stands for user generated content. And it's sort of a way to do influencer brand deals with a lower following. I would love to get to a higher following, but share it with a friend. If you like what I put out into the world, please, I would really, really appreciate it. I feel like word of mouth is the way to go. I've been chasing the virality of social media. It's not working. Don't do that. That's not good for your mental health. So UGC, I started in November of last year and then started getting paid for it in January. I had one consistent client frequently I love their products so much. They're amazing. And then I would have one-off brand deals here and there. So moving to Toronto, UGC, I've seen so many people post on social media being I make $10,000 a month. You can scale your business so easily with UGC. And no, people don't say easily. Nothing's easy, but I was oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. I need to make this money to afford living in Toronto and to afford being an adult. This economy is crazy. Everything is so expensive. And I can't do everything. I literally just can't do everything. And I had to accept that. And all my mental breakdowns and moments of extreme overstimulation and just my body freaking out on me were signs that you cannot Human to Human podcast, Mental Health Matchmaker podcast, full-time regular job at BB Therapy, UGC content, blog writing, social media posting. You can't. Whoa. Did anyone get overwhelmed hearing me list all those things? Because I did. You can't do it all. You really can't do it all. And if you try, your body will get mad at you and force you to stop. And that's where I was at. I went to see my new therapist who I love so much. She's not really new anymore. We've been working together for several months. And when I first went though, and she said this to me recently in a session, she was you were so anxious. You had no idea what you could drop from your plate. You didn't want to drop anything from your plate. And it was just so much. You were so overwhelmed. And I was thank you. That is so validating to hear. I love you so much. This is why I pay you $150 per session. So that's where I was at. And so I was I have to prioritize the things that make me money validly. And I stopped posting on Human to Human. And things have felt off in weird ways that I couldn't pinpoint in the past few months. And it's taken up until this last week for me to really accept the course of action of how I want to move forward and how I want to show up. And one of those things is not doing UGC, which is crazy because I thought that was like my next career path step. But I love podcasting so much. And then this other project I want to work on is so near and dear to my heart. Like, it's based on writing, and writing is something that like I have loved before podcasting. I've been writing for so much of my life. In grade 12, when I got out of a toxic relationship, I read Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis, and it inspired me to write and have a blog and just do, you know, things that felt so good for me and to leave situations that didn't feel good for me. So it's just felt like such a hard situation where I want to do the things that don't make money right now, but will freaking make money one day. And that's what I have to remind myself. And UGC has felt like there's a lot of resistance in my body. And it's weird when you're good at something and you like do get satisfaction from it. It's like, well, I could just keep doing it, especially because that's where the money comes from. But it's like, you can't do it all. So if you're abandoning yourself because you're not doing something because you're trying to prioritize that one thing, it's not going to feel good. And when you're feeling so much confusion and uncertainty and like what is wrong with me or what is happening or why do things feel so weird, like that's a sign. The way I've been feeling the past few months have just been like such a sign of like you're abandoning your true dreams and your true desires deep inside of you. So it's time to make a change. So what was the turning point for me? I'm going to ask myself that question. I actually haven't listened to Rachel Hollis's podcast in quite a long time, but I was feeling just really off about this stuff and just like I didn't have direction and I didn't know what was happening and I didn't know what to do. So I went to her podcast and there was an episode called Goals Mashup. And it was a bunch of episodes that she had talked about goals and she'd put them all together into one episode. Boy, did shit hit deep. The one question I want to share with you and hopefully leave you thinking about is, what would you do if you knew that you would fail? And she said, like, the typical question I feel like is like, something related to succeeding. I don't even remember what it was, but I hadn't heard this question posed like this. What would you do if you knew that you would fail and you'd continue to fail time and time again? And it just slapped me across the freaking face that it's podcasting. I have podcasted for 4 friggin' years and I've never seen a penny from it. And I'm continuing to quote unquote fail by not having a huge community and not gaining a crazy big following and having amazing and bajillion people. You are amazing. Thank you for listening. Seriously. Because we are a small ass community. There are very few people who listen to this podcast, but I've still done it and I miss it when I'm not doing it. And that just shows that like, wow, this is obviously the thing that I would keep doing if I was failing. And then with UGC content, the universe is just going to push you and push you and push you till you make the decision that's aligned with you, I feel like. And so I was getting rejections with UGC, contracts were expiring and not getting extended, drama was happening, and I still so deeply love and I just feel so privileged to have gotten products for free and gone to events for free and gotten to like just be such a leader in a sense and also have so much creative freedom with my content. There's so many good things about UGC that it's like I actually had so much trouble coming to this conclusion because it was like, why in the fuck would you not keep doing this? All the perks and the fact that you get money from it and it's creative, whatever, why would you not keep doing it? And it's because like in my heart and in my soul and in my gut, I'm like, I need to be podcasting and I need to be working towards my really, really big dreams. And I had this whisper in my head for a while of like, but this is taking away from my content, but this is taking away from time I could be putting into human to human. This is taking away from videos I want to post on my account. And I was also having this whisper recently in the past like month or two of, I don't want to do this. Like it would just come out of nowhere from my body. And it would be like when I would get an email, or I was like anxiously checking my email, because one email about UGC stuff could change the course of my life, I felt like, or could change the course of my whole day. And so I was just in this anxious spiral of like checking my email all the time and just like pushing and pushing and pushing in a way that didn't feel aligned. And then I had this feeling that kept coming up saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I find this so challenging to listen to, because when I was a kid, and I think a lot of people could probably relate to this, there was a lot of things I didn't want to do that I had to do. One of the biggest things is I grew up doing musical theater, and I went to a musical theater studio, and it was so fun and so jokes. It wasn't like competitive dance, but we did a lot of shows, like a lot of shows. We always did a Christmas show. We'd have a spring show. I think maybe we'd have a fall show, and I was in musical theater, but then I was also in acting. So we had like musical theater shows, but then we also had plays. And it was like the amount of times I had a cold and like was sick and now that it's post-COVID, I think people would fucking flip out at this. But like, I would just push through. I would be losing my voice. I'd be so snotty. I'd be so tired. And it's like, well, you have a show, so tough shit. And I was like 12 years old. And I don't fault anyone for this. I don't fault my parents for this. I don't fault, the studio I went to for this. But like, this was something I got very comfortable with, was no matter what state my body was in, I just said, no, I'll just do it. I have to do it. And that's, whoa. Can we give that a moment? Can we give that a moment? That's crazy. So no wonder it's really hard for me to listen to my body when my body says, I don't want to do this. Because I grew up going, tough shit. You have to. And now I'm like, wait, I'm an adult and I can make all my own decisions. Like, what? That's crazy. And it's so wild because I was so extroverted at this studio that I went to, and I was so loud and I was so bubbly and I was so talkative. And people would say stuff to my mom and be like, Jess has so much energy and Jess is so this and that. And my mom would be like, she's not like this at home. And people would be like, what do you mean? And my mom's like, she goes to her room and she's alone for hours, which is funny because last night I literally got to do that and it made me feel like my child self. And I think, one, it's because I love being alone and I need that to recharge. But also, I think it was so extreme when I was growing up of how much time I would need alone in silence, just by myself, was because I was so overstimulated that I needed so much to recover from, like so much time and so much understimulation to recover. Like, I was the kid who had stomach aches all the time and we never knew why. And I was always hungry. That's a whole other thing. I was always hungry because I was so picky with food. I just didn't nourish myself properly. But I knew from a young age what was a I'm hungry stomach ache and what was I now know, I didn't know it at the time, but I'm an overstimulated stomach ache. And I remember even being in high school, having a bunch of family at my cottage and all hanging out by the fire, and my stomach hurt, and I knew I needed to go lie down for 20 minutes alone and my stomach would feel better. And now I'm so proud to say I don't have stomach aches very often at all. And I'm also realizing that when I'm an adult, like I'm an adult now, being an adult, I can say to people like, oh no, I want to go home. I have a stomach ache. And people will be like, oh shit, that sucks. Okay, no problem. But I pushed through my stomach aches time and time and time again. So it's genuinely so fucking hard to listen to your body because we are in a society that says, shut the fuck up. You need to stay in this building for 6 hours for school or 8 hours for work. You don't get to go home if you have a bit of a headache. Our body tells us what it needs. And we are so conditioned not to listen that like it can take a long time to make hard decisions like this one. And obviously this decision is making me take a hit financially, but it's like, I'm going to figure that out with me, myself, and I. So don't worry about that. But I just want to acknowledge that like this is an extremely hard decision because it's making me make less financially and be a bit more strained for money. So it's just like, what? Yeah, it's wild. And I hope this explanation and just me going over this journey is helpful for you and helpful for you to just like know that if you're in a place where you need to make a decision that's hard, like your body's going to yell at you. And so coming full circle into me rearranging my bedroom last night, clearly there's some internal shifts going on inside of me. I'm making big decisions. I'm choosing to believe in my big, big, big dreams again. And that's something that society doesn't respect or understand. That's something that, because of that societal conditioning, family members won't understand, friends won't understand. And so, I mean, friends is a hard one, because if a friend doesn't understand, maybe they're not that good of a friend. Or just maybe they're not good. Maybe they're not an aligned friend. But so deciding to go for my dreams, like all of these things that have caused so much internal beliefs to shift and all of this stuff requires a physical change. Like I am just the type of person where it's like I need to change my physical environment when I'm changing emotionally inside. And that's why I change my room every like 4 to 5 months, because you go through different seasons and things are changing. A chapter is closing. And I was watching a podcast just the other day from my old boss I worked for, Lizzie Pierce. She's an amazing YouTuber, and she just moved across the country, and she started the video off by saying, you have to say goodbye to something to start something new, basically. And it's just like all these signs from the universe of like, the universe was not extending any of my UGC deals, like literally putting things right in my face like that, saying like, you have to say goodbye to live the life you're meant to live. It is wild. And I'm so grateful, and I'm just so excited about what's to come. And I'm really trying to lean into trusting myself and the life I'm creating for myself, and knowing that the money will come. Like I have a stable day job. I know what's coming in every month. UGC was so all over the place, you couldn't really predict it. And to know that like the money will come, the community will come, I will live out my dreams. This stuff takes time. But my boyfriend also said it could happen tomorrow. You literally just never know. So I encourage you to think about the question, what would you do if you knew you would fail? Shout out to Rachel Hollis for sharing that, and that was definitely quoted by someone else. Don't know who it is. And I'm so glad I'm back and making podcast episodes. So life is busy, so I'm not going to commit to a posting schedule right now, but I hope you subscribe so you don't miss when new episodes come out. And I would really, really, really appreciate it if you would share this podcast with a friend. I think that's the best way to make a community and spread the word about a community. And I have dreams of doing things in person, so I definitely would love to grow this human space so that we can make that happen and be in person, one human to another human, many humans to another humans. So yeah, thank you so much. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at human to human pod. And I also always want to hear from you. So please go to my website, www.humantohumanpod.com, to submit anonymously a funny TMI story, because we're still doing TMI stories, okay? And also a question if you want me to talk about anything. I would really love to share the things that you like to hear about, and it also helps get my creative juices flowing. So if you have something going on in your life, or you just want me to speak more on something I'm experiencing, let me know. Message me on Instagram, send me an email, submit on my website, okay? Okay, I hope you have a good week, and ask yourself, what would you continue to do if you knew you would fail? Love you.